The well-known global case study for an alternative to the capitalistic hierarchy, Mondragon, can and should be emulated in the United States. However, this begs the question, how will this emulation be achieved? In this video, I will propose that a Mondragon style cooperative can form in the United States by connecting the existing worker cooperatives under an umbrella corporation. First, for the uninitiated, Mondragon, as of 2019, is a worker cooperative of about 82,000 people located in the Basque region in Spain. The cooperative has total sales of around 12.2 billion euros as of 2018 and is highly advanced in manufacturing, banking, food, and consumer goods retailing, as well as in engineering and business consulting. Ultimately, Mondragon is not an individual corporation with a single product, but rather it is an umbrella corporation for 268 separate cooperative enterprises. This umbrella structure of Mondragon, along with other superstructure features, are what make Mondragon the most successful worker run business in the world. The umbrella structure of Mondragon is what I view as the driving factor to the cooperative's resilience and growth. This umbrella structure allows for six key features to emerge in the Mondragon Corporation that would not exist for a standalone cooperative. One, profit sharing. Two, the formation of a worker bank. Three, the formation of an investment firm. Four, a large shared knowledge and skill pool. Five, the formation of a university. Six, the ability to move employees from failing sub cooperatives into successful sub cooperatives. These features simply do not exist for cooperatives in the United States, which have median revenues of about 600,000 US dollars and no umbrella structure. In the rest of this video, I will extrapolate on these features and why I view these features as so critical to Mondragon's success. Maybe not so much the university, but the other five are very important. One, profit sharing. Mondragon has each sub cooperative divide their net profit after tax, so after salary is paid, after cogs is paid, cost of goods sold, and they divide it justly. 10% is donated to a nonprofit charity. 45% is distributed among the sub cooperative, and 45% is allocated to the collective reserves of Mondragon as a whole. Mondragon then funds their investment company with 14% of this collective reserve, 7% designated to nonprofit investment. Then a sizable portion of these collective reserves are given to sub cooperatives that did not make a profit. This allocation is done on a division by division level so that resources are properly allocated. So I've delved into what the structure largely of Mondragon is, and now I'm delving into the financing of Mondragon, actually, how each cooperative um, keeps a certain proportion of its net income and gives a certain proportion to the larger corporation of its net income. So before I do that, I just kind of wanted to draw a little diagram on Microsoft Paint so y'all understand a little bit better of what's happening. So here's cooperative A, here's cooperative B, here's cooperative C, here's cooperative D. All right. All of these separate cooperatives are all subsumed under the larger umbrella cooperative that is Mondragon. So they're all within this triangle that is Mondragon. Okay. So all the cooperatives are here. Now, within each, what I'm calling sub cooperative, there are different allocations of resources. So 10%, so everything below the line. So this is net income. I'm going to call this net income, right? Everything below this line, this 10% here, 10%, excuse my terrible handwriting. Oh, yeah, gorgeous. This 10% here, all of that is going to charity. And this is net income. This is after salaries paid. This is after cost of goods sold. This is after all that good stuff. 45% of net income is is going to be given to the larger corporation. So this 45%, it goes into this triangle. And then 45% stays here, stays in this rectangle here. All right, good. Then we have the redistribution, which means that of this 45% that's going to the larger corporation, some of it from, let's say, from this more profitable sub cooperative goes back to the less profitable sub cooperative. So there's a little bit of redistribution that happens here. One consequence of such a redistribution is the survival of a business that might have otherwise gone under. Obviously, the continual funding of a non profitable sub cooperative is detrimental to the firm as a whole. But often, a sub cooperative can become competitive after a few years of holding their own within an industry. Companies like Amazon grew massively without making a profit because they were bailed out by their shareholders investing more capital in the shares of Amazon. A cooperative cannot accept such cash for their shares, as shares cannot be sold to an entity outside the cooperative. We can get into that statement a bit later. You can potentially sell maybe 49% of your business and retain ownership of the other 51%, retain board ownership, etc. But that would be a more convoluted conversation for another time. Thus, the ability to weather an economic recession or to grow a competitive cooperative within our capitalistic economy will rely on communal funds, not just loans, to fund expansion. Thus, we're sharing profits from the most successful cooperatives to the least successful cooperatives. To the bank. Mondragon includes a 23 billion euro cooperative bank. This bank is able to store wealth within the cooperative and lend that wealth out to individuals within the cooperative and the cooperative themselves. The lending to individuals within that cooperative at cheap rates allows that worker to afford homes with affordable mortgage rates. So there's two sort of advantages of having this bank. One, the individual worker level. If a worker needs a mortgage loan in order to finance their home, the bank is able to provide a loan, not just with competitive interest rates, but with just the marginal interest rate necessary in order for the bank to break even. Are purely for profit, large banking institutions will see market conditions and they will charge the highest interest rate they can until they will lose business. Whereas Mondragon's bank has a different goal. Its goal is to not to increase profits year over year, but instead a maintenance of the bottom line of the bank. Thus, they are able to charge lower interest rates to their workers. Workers are thus able to afford homes within the community of their work and are thus more likely to be happier and healthier. But the main benefit of a cooperative bank is its ability to loan funds. You can loan funds to sub cooperatives of the larger umbrella cooperative for a variety of reasons. One reason is the expansion of the sub cooperative's business. Let's say a shoe store cooperative wants an expensive piece of equipment to start making their own shoes. The internal cooperative bank is able to finance this addition, granting this sub cooperative with the desperate funding it needs for competitive expansion. In the context of a current US cooperative company, workers would be left to get a mortgage loan from a rapacious bank at high rates. If the cooperative itself wants to expand its business with a business loan, they will have to form an extensively financially planned pitch deck for the loan to just to take to various banks in the hopes that they could get the loan in the first place. However, due to the cooperative's small size and its nature as a cooperative, it is unlikely that they would able to get cheap loans that would be necessary to finance their expansionary projects from these banks. Thus, the formation of a bank is absolutely necessary uh, for a cooperative to sustain workers and for it to grow. This bank formation requires the umbrella structure that Mondragon has, and it's necessary to pool funds and start the internal bank. Three, the investment firm. Alongside the bank, Mondragon has a dedicated team which makes investments for the firm. This investment sub cooperative is necessary in order to form a pension system within the firm at large. Mondragon now has a 6 billion euro cooperative social security system. Um, the investment team helps pick the investment products for this pension. Moreover, the investment firm has a venture arm that can invest in new startup cooperatives and spin offs from other existing sub cooperatives. Imagine if the United States had an existing umbrella corporation like Mondragon, let's call it US Co op, that would be able to make investments in Silicon Valley. US Co op ventures could find disgruntled Google, Facebook, or Amazon employees, employees often with brilliant coding capabilities, to form a sub cooperative. US Co op ventures can offer these potential founders a competitive offer. One, the longevity of their business. Their business will not be gobbled up by private equity ghouls and dissected for parts. No, the business is owned by the workers and cannot be sold for parts. Two, if this particular venture fails, the competent founder and their team can find work within one of the other numerous cooperatives. Three, additional funding for the cooperative bank can provide the startup with cheap loans that they would not have access to on the open market. Thus, an investment firm is critical to the growth and success of a cooperative within the United States and can really only form if you pool together your funds, which you can do within umbrella corporation, an umbrella cooperative. Four, the large shared knowledge slash skill pool. Within the 268 cooperatives at Mondragon, there are a substantial number of accountants, machinery experts, lawyers, etc. If a sub cooperative is having difficulties with any essential business practices like accounting issues or machinery issues, they can reach out to the numerous experts within their own organization who can aid them. This allows for the cooperative not to spend funds on outside consultancy groups. Moreover, it allows the cooperative to have shared resources and practices for items like lawsuits. The small cooperatives in the United States could potentially go bankrupt from just one lawsuit, whereas an umbrella cooperative would be able to use company lawyers and some company funds to fight against such litigation. Instead of a potentially ruinous lawsuit for a smaller cooperative, the umbrella cooperative can efficiently fight such attacks. Five, and maybe not as important, but a very interesting aspect of Mondragon is their university. Mondragon University trains the next generation to work within a cooperative workplace. It provides an educated labor force for the umbrella cooperative to pull from. I spoke with somebody from the town of Mondragon who went to Mondragon University and studied mechanical engineering and business development. He graduated and then he worked for Mondragon for 8 years as an engineer before becoming a business manager at Mondragon. In between, he went abroad to another company and then he came back because guess what? He has an amazing pension that pays 80% of his final salary. And You're working within a cooperative workplace. You have a little bit of control within your organization, and he really loves it. Um, so, this university that this worker went to, Mondragon University, supplies students with their two ultimate goals: knowledge, you're gaining knowledge at the university, and two, provide you a job post graduation. Those are two incredibly powerful items that we could supply to the US populace. Six, the movement of employees. No matter the efforts of the workers, some cooperatives will go bankrupt. Workers at these cooperatives have expertise that can be used in other cooperatives to make them more successful. During the Spanish financial crisis in 2009, a sub cooperative at Mondragon went bankrupt. The workers at the other sub cooperatives voted to take a pay cut and accept many of these workers. This allowed Mondragon to lay off only 4% of its staff during the financial crisis in Spain, whereas roughly 25% of the larger workforce in Spain was laid off. As the economy picked up post financial crisis, Mondragon did not need to restaff at levels of their competition, and thus they were able to produce products and deliver services at a much faster rate after the recession, thus gaining market share. And again, and let's just delve into these numbers really quickly. 4% is still a relatively significant amount of employees to lay off. This is during one of the worst financial crises, in Spanish history. And laying off 4% of your employees is, compared to 25%, is remarkable. So, the six key features I have illuminated in this paper only exist for Mondragon because of its umbrella structure. This umbrella structure can be mimicked here in the United States. There are currently about 465 worker cooperatives in the US. These democratic workplaces employ around 7,000 people and generate over 550 million US dollars in annual revenue. These worker cooperatives are small, but they could band together under one umbrella organization. This organization would then be able to profit share, form a worker bank, an investment firm, share knowledge and skills, form a university if they wanted to, and move employees from one failing sub cooperative to another profitable sub cooperative. Now, one advantage of Mondragon is that its cooperatives are all geographically located in close proximity. The US co op would not have such an advantage. However, geographical proximity is not as much of an obstacle as it once was. Amazon, again, using what terrible, evil corporation such as Amazon is our example here, but it's located in every state in the country. And most of these corporations are now organized in every state in the country. It has large offices in Washington State and in the DC area. Some technology companies are now completely remote. Obviously, it would be lovely to form a New York cooperative, an LA cooperative, or a Northwest cooperative, in distinct regions. However, I think that the US co op would need to be formed first. Mondragon has over 20 times the revenue of all the worker cooperatives in the United States combined. Let's repeat that. Mondragon, one cooperative, one umbrella cooperative, has 20 times the revenue of all the worker cooperatives in the United States combined. In order to achieve the factors listed above, the US needs to combine as many of its worker cooperatives as possible. Once these cooperatives share funds, not allowing one bad year to bankrupt several cooperatives, the US co op can begin to form a bank and finance expansion. Right now, the average age of a worker cooperative in the US is 5 years old. That means that cooperatives often go under and don't survive. The US can build a cooperative like Mondragon a cooperative that has been around for 68 years. I believe that we in the United States can build a Mondragon. The start of that process is building an umbrella corporation and uniting the existing worker cooperatives in this country. So, that was a lot of information. um, let me know what you think in the comments down below. This is my first video I'm putting out on this channel, and I'm gonna try my best in order to get back to anybody that responds. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. If you work at a cooperative, if you're a part of this space, or if you're joining it for the first time, reach out to me. I love this idea. I believe cooperatives are the future, and I want to progress them in the world. And so, however we can do that will be fantastic. Um, yeah, thank you, and have a great day. This umbrella structure is replicable. Re- this umbrella structure is replicable. Repli- rep- replicable? Replicable. Re- replicable? replicable? Replicable is replicable. Is replicable. Recapable? How the fuck do you say this word? Replaceable? No. I think that's what I typed. Replaceable. Oh my god. Okay.